My team did a free gap assessment with a founder who is scaling to $20,000 a month. He's very smart. They have a very premium offer and what I'm sure is an excellent service. And yet the needle just wasn't moving. So what we found might surprise you a little bit. And if you are in the business of building a high trust, high ticket, service-based or education services business, you'll want to hear what we told him. So to give you a quick snapshot of the business, this business was founded less than a year ago. They're scaling to $20,000 initially, and the ideal audience is B2B sales, small founder-led teams that need help with client acquisition, which is just a fancy way of saying getting more sales. Currently, they're offering a 90-minute consulting session for $500 and then a 3-month package for $4K. In terms of social reach, they're only on LinkedIn, have about 1,000 followers, only getting like 300 impressions per post and really not getting any engagement, which leaves huge opportunity for other platforms that they could be on, like YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook. There's so many options. The other thing is that their process is manual, and he even said they're spending an inordinate amount of time creating graphics and trying to create content that feels authentic to them, their message, and what they're actually offering. So here's the problems. Let me just go down the list. No predictable inbound leads from content. So it's taking them way more than an hour a week to create content that isn't even making them money. No visible lead flow attributed to profile visits. All leads are coming from referrals or cold DMs. No scalable content system for daily content. Super high opportunity costs. No time to generate leads because they're trying to DIY the marketing. Likely content conversion rate is like zero. Profile conversion rate around zero. No leads are being created. You should be seeing leads being created with every single post, especially if you're using ManyChat. Link in bio isn't set up to automate the sales process. They're not even getting enough leads in the pipeline to get them on calls and then close. So like, even if they're good at sales, it doesn't matter because they don't have anyone to sell to. The other thing that kind of stood out to me about this call when I was reviewing it is the fact that they're listening to podcasts and just trying to reverse engineer other people's growth, which I think is very, very common, but ultimately isn't what's going to move the needle. So here's what we told them they need to implement to hit $20,000 per month. So number one, you have no chance of getting to 20K per month if you have no one to sell to. If you don't have leads coming in, if you don't have people that know you exist, you have nothing. You don't have anyone to sell to. But when we look at their offer suite, and then if we just pull off some kind of average numbers from our clients, if they had a 50% average close rate, 70% show rate, you only need consults. So just kind of referencing some averages from our clients, the 50% close rate and 70% show rate, it's about 5 sales per month at $4K to add the $20,000 of MRR, and that would be $60,000 in total sales revenue. And then with only 5 clients, you really shouldn't have any churn, which is just clients not upholding their contracts. Those numbers should be pretty accurate. So all we need to do is sign 5 people. So if you post 1 video a day, pretty standard for you to get 1,000 to 3,000 views each. That's 3 to 5 leads per video, which is 90 leads per month. And you only need about 15% of those to turn into consults, which is pretty standard. So if you post 1 video a day, averaging 1,000 to 3,000 views per video, you get 3 to 5 leads each. That's about 90 leads a month. You only need about 15%, which is pretty standard, of those to turn into consult. So again, just reverse engineering. If we're going to post every day, get 1,000 to 3,000 views per video, which is super, super standard, then they should be able to hit this revenue target of $20,000 a month. So the real question is, how do we post every day and then only spend 1 hour per week on content? It comes down to our converts model, which is just a system designed to take all of the information about your brand and organize it into a process that allows you to post daily and check all of the boxes the brain needs checked to actually make a purchase decision. We know from brain imaging like EEGs and fMRIs that there are basically 3 decision-making layers of the brain, and we also know what triggers need to be hit through your content to actually activate each of those layers of the brain. So it's kind of like a funnel, similar to what you would be familiar with of a regular sales funnel or social media or your website. It kind of acts the same way. The primal brain acts as a filter. And so information is being filed subconsciously into the primal brain and kind of filtering out what's important. So the first thing you have to do in your content to actually get somebody's attention is activate the primal brain so that they're actually listening to you consciously and they're aware of what you're saying. Then most of the decision making actually happens with the emotional brain or the limbic system. So this is where it's really really important for them to feel seen and heard and get that emotional resonance built. It's really important for you to kind of narrate their desires and also show them results from people like them. Then you move into the justification phase, or the kind of final decision-making layer of the brain, which is the rational brain or the neocortex. So this is where you need to overcome objections and speak to the knowledge gaps and mistakes that people make. So what you've done is you've moved through the awareness layer of the brain. So you've gotten their attention with the primal brain, you've moved in, you've made the emotional connection, and you've basically helped them make the decision in the emotional part of the brain. And then they're going to justify that decision that they've basically already made with logic and reason. So those pieces of content where you're like overcoming objections or something like that, those are going to actually push people to take the next step, because it's that final box that needs to be checked for the brain to feel safe to decide to make a purchase. So what we recommended was using our system so that he could organize all of his content, all of his information, all of his brand and message and identity into this process that makes sure that people aren't just watching his content, they're actually going to buy. And I know that's a lot of jargon and it sounds really overwhelming, which is why we've just created a new offer that's actually done for you content production. We use super in-depth market research so that we really understand your ideal audience, their demographics, psychographics, the things that are going to trigger them to make a purchase decision. We then funnel that into our converts framework so that we know that your content is checking all of those boxes and moving people through the 3 decision-making layers within their brain. And then we're able to script, so you know exactly what to say in your content. You film, should take you less than an hour a week. We then edit and schedule your content to go out on every platform. So that way we can ensure you are posting once a day, getting 1,000 to 3,000 views on every video, and getting leads every single time you post. So the biggest problem here is just that they don't have enough people who actually know that they exist to even be able to think about buying from them. But then they need to have something set up so that their sales process is a little bit more automated. Because once these leads start coming in, your system needs to be able to handle the volume of leads that we create for you. Otherwise, you're just going to have a lot of lost revenue and a lot of lost opportunities. So we highly recommend setting it up so that the link in your bio actually goes directly to some sort of lead capture, either a lead magnet, so a freebie of some sort, or direct to a call booking or application. The key here is that we just need a automated way for people to give you their information so that you and your team can then work those leads. And typically what happens pretty quickly is once the content starts going out, the leads start rolling in, and we get to a point very fast where the founders hit capacity with their time. So it's not doable. It's not going to be feasible for you as the founder to be taking like 5 to 8 sales calls a day, right? You're just not going to have time to do that. And so that's when it's going to be time to hire a setter and a closer. And that sounds like it's something that's very far away, but this happens very fast because the leads come in very fast and you want to be able to work them and maximize on the leads that you have. And so typically right as you hit 20K per month, you need to think about bringing on one of those 2 hires. So to recap, we need to put in place a system that will generate reliable leads. We want to see 3 to 5 leads coming in at a minimum every single day. We need to dial in the messaging so that we're not only attracting new people, but then we're actually moving them through those decision-making processes within the brain and making sure that they're moving to a place where they are ready to buy from you. So then the leads actually come in. Something I'm not going to get into in this video, but probably in the future, we'd probably also want to look at the pricing, having an anchor price and a decent upsell structure. And then of course, getting rid of all the time that they're wasting on DIYing when the content could just be scripted and posted for them. And then of course, adding in that backend system to actually manage, track, and work the leads so that there's an automated way for sales to come into the pipeline. And there's a streamlined process for the founder to be able to take those leads from interest to actual purchase. And it's important to get that in place so that you're not having to make huge foundational changes before you can hire a closer and a setter, because that's just going to slow your growth. If you set it up now so that your system is going to be usable for building out a sales team, you're going to be able to scale much faster. Now, of course, if you want our team to lay eyes on your business and look at all of your marketing and sales data, really assess where the bottlenecks are in your marketing. If it's we're just not reaching enough people, or our content actually isn't converting, maybe there's something on your profile that's breaking trust. And then of course, looking at your sales metrics. So is it the process itself that's a problem? Is there somewhere within the process that things are kind of breaking down? Do we have a show rate dropping? Do we have a low close rate for some reason? Are the leads that are coming through the pipeline not qualified? So we might need to add some friction there, right? There's a lot of different things that go into this, and only looking at your data is actually going to give us the information we need to give you an accurate assessment. We're more than happy to do that for you. The team will walk through all of your marketing and sales data, kind of assess where those blockers are, where things are breaking down, and give you our best recommendation for next steps. If it's something we can help with, great. We'll walk you through what that would look like. If not, great. We'll send you to somebody who we think can help you, or at least give you some clarity and direction to move forward with on your own. So that link is down below. As always, thanks for being here, and I'll see you in the next video.